Hi, Dad.
Hi, Dave.
Okay, I'm going to ask you some questions. Tell me a bit about your parents. How did they meet and what brought them to the place where you were born?
Well, my parents were both born in Chicago, and the way they met was through a little social club that their church had, the Catholic Church, and that's how they met. And it was a club in the church, like a young people's club or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the way they met, and the rest was history.
Do you remember how young they were at that time?
Well, they were in their early 20s.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
Huh.
And they got married during the Depression, and I was born during the Depression, and times were very tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I actually have a question further on down about that, so you can go into more detail.
okay.
Yeah. What did you most like about your dad?
He was a very hard-working person, um, and both my dad and mother were very religious, very faithful to the Catholic Church. Um, so he was a provider. I mean, he worked very hard during the Depression to keep bringing food. He even spent some time as a dishwasher, just anything to make a go of it.
Wow.
So he was a survivor, that's for sure.
Yeah. And how about your mom? What did you most like about your mom?
Well, she was very very faithful to the family. Um, she was, very faithful to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
She was a very stern person, though. She kept us in line,
Mm-hmm.
which I think was good in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so and she was, of course, good-natured. She had some good friends,
Mm-hmm.
and overall, she was a good mother.
Mm-hmm. How about as a cook? Was she much of a cook?
Well, most Polish women were good cooks.
That's what I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Okay.
and she made good meals. We enjoyed them. I was never left hungry.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, especially the tough times.
yeah.
What do you think each of your parents' shortcomings might have been?
Um, I don't think my dad had any shortcomings. He worked hard. He was good to the family and to his friends and relatives.
Mm-hmm.
My mother was tough. I mean, she didn't spare the rod. You know how they say, "Spare the
Yes.
rod and spoil the child." Well, she would spank us when we needed it, when we required it, or when we earned it.
Right. With what?
Well, I think the favorite thing was a belt,
Oh.
because she didn't spare the rod or the belt.
Was there ever a time when you felt like it was unearned, like you didn't have anything to do with it?
No,
Okay.
I mean I earned it.
All right. Well, I'd like to hear more about that. But there's a question about that in here later on.
Yeah.
Okay. What role did your relatives play in your life? And how often did you get together and what was that like?
Well, we got to see the grandparents quite often. Um, my dad's mother lived close by. His father had died a before, few years before they got married, I think.
Okay.
Um, and of course there were aunts, my father's sisters, 3 sisters who lived together with the grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw them pretty often because they were only like less than a mile away from
Wow.
where we lived. In fact, we actually lived in the same house as they did when I was first born.
Wow.
We lived in the basement of the house, and then we moved up to the 3rd floor, after a few years when the third floor became available. And so we lived in the same house with them for many years.
Do you remember those years living with them, or were you too young?
No, I remember them very well. We didn't eat a lot of meals with them, but we saw them often. And we had a nice apartment on the third floor when we moved up there. In fact, there was one bedroom that was really just all my toys.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That is good living.
There were other things in the room, but I had plenty of space for my toys.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a nice place to live. And then we moved around the corner to Sawyer Avenue. And we lived on the third floor there also, which gave me a lot of exercise when I was young.
Going up the steps.
Going up the steps, yeah.
And you lived with another family that you didn't know very well, or?
Well, we didn't know anybody. It was a 3-story apartment house.
Oh, I see. Okay.
We lived on the third floor. Had a nice big backyard,
Wow.
which was not taken care of at all. It was wild.
Oh,
Well, it was a great place for a kid to play.
explore.
And,
Yeah.
and a tree I could climb.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a good place to live.
For
And then-
Chicago, that's pretty good, isn't
Yeah,
it?
and it was right around the corner from 2 movie houses, which I would go to very often, usually on Saturday afternoon.
With someone or by
By
yourself?
myself.
Yeah.
It cost 10 cents
10 cents. Wow.
to see a movie and a cereal. You know what a cereal is?
Not really.
That's a week-to-week movie
Oh, okay.
where there's a peril at the end to the hero, and then
Okay.
you got to go the following week to see how he gets out of that peril.
Okay. So the 10 cents, what would that be comparable in cost today, do you think?
Probably $1.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your folks would just give you that, or is that something you earned?
Well, I earned some money. Don't remember how exactly,
Okay.
but I don't remember getting an allowance. I just remember, I had a newspaper route fairly early in my life. I was probably 10 years old. I would deliver these papers door to door.
10 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there were 2 different papers that I delivered. I had about a year or 2 with one, and then I had several years with the second one. These were essentially just, they weren't newspapers in the sense of news. They were shopping type
Okay.
papers.
Do you remember how you got that job, or what motivated you to get that job?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I remember how I got the job, but I remember the first one was a challenge because I was supposed to go and collect from the people for the thing, and hardly anybody paid anything
Oh,
because it was delivered to them whether they paid or not.
really?
Yeah. Because it was essentially a flyer for all the stores. you know.
Okay. But where would that money go? Was that sort of your tip, or no? Like if they didn't have to pay.
Well, they didn't have to pay, so I don't think I made any money. I might have gotten a very small pittance for delivering the thing to start with, but it wasn't very much.
Wow.
But we lived on a block in Chicago that had a lot of people living there because there were big apartments with 3 units in each, and then there were 4 around a courtyard.
Mm-hmm.
So there were like 12 apartments in each segment,
Mm-hmm.
and there were like 4 of those segments. So there were, 48 families
Wow.
living in that one block.
Yeah.
And that was one of the units that I delivered papers to.
Okay.
So we were supposed to deliver them door to door, but I didn't do that. I just put them in the front hall where people could pick them up, rather than climb all those stairs
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
all those apartments. So that's how I earned some money when I was a kid.
Okay.
And then later on, of course, I got a job at the soda fountain.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a freshman in high school, first I got a job at a department store.
Okay.
where I was a stock boy. I used to bring the stock up from the basement
Mm-hmm.
to all the different counters, and I did that for several years. And then in the meantime, I also...
Was that like after school, you mean?
Yeah, after
Okay.
school. It was,
Okay.
I think it was every day after school, Monday through Friday. Maybe even on Saturday. I don't remember for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But that gave me a lot of exercise,
Yeah.
bringing those merchandise up from the basement.
Oh,
where it
yeah.
was, and
Weights and
taking
stuff.
it around and picking up trash from the different departments.
Were you able to, from age 10 on, able to keep your own money, or was there a point where you turned it over to your family?
No, I was always able to keep what I earned.
Okay.
And I was saving up for college.
Oh.
By the time I was starting to go to college, I had, well, that job plus the soda fountain job, I had earned enough money to pay for about 1 year of college.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How was it instilled in you early on that college was your destiny, do you think?
Well,
Because you were a first-generation college student, so...
yeah. Well, all my relatives went to college, a lot of them on the GI Bill.
Oh.
My uncles and cousins. And it was just instilled in me that, well, first of all, I wanted to be, they asked me in 8th grade, what do I want to be?
Okay.
I said I want to be an electrical engineer. I thought of it at that time in my life, and I stuck with that goal
Yeah.
all my life.
So how did you even know what that was? Do you remember when you were first, that seed
Well,
was first kind of planted?
I always liked to make things.
Yeah.
I made a lot of model airplanes.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I was always fascinated with technology. I wanted to understand how things worked. So, and being an engineer was just a natural goal. And then some of my relatives were also engineers.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh.
My dad's cousins
Okay.
were engineers.
I didn't realize that.
They went to IIT also, which is the college I
Oh,
went to.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
They went on the GI Bill. I was younger than them, of course. And IIT was always, a great school in my mind.
Okay.
So when I went to, when I was a senior in high school, I had the highest grades in high school of all the students.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I was second in high school, I think.
Oh.
But the valedictorian and I went to the same college, and I beat him out there. I was first in college, he was second.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Maybe he's having a little too much fun, huh?
yeah. And but I worked at the soda fountain all those years, and that was really a fun job. And when I was in high school, I would join the Magic Club,
Mm-hmm.
and I learned a lot of tricks, and I made a lot of the tricks.
You made a lot of the tricks.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I bought some.
That's really creative that you made them.
Yeah, I always wanted a Gilbert Mr. Magic Set number 5,
Oh.
which cost $5, and I kept asking for that for Christmas. Never got it.
Oh, Dad, you're going to make me cry.
And my dad said, "Oh, we can get some of those tricks, independently. We won't have to pay that high $5 cost." $5 was a lot of money in those days.
Yeah.
So we were picking up. He knew some magician that was getting rid of his stuff, so we got a few
Oh, that's cool.
little tricks from that guy.
So he supported you with your interests,
Yeah.
but he didn't go for the $5.
No,
Yeah.
but I joined the Magic Club in high school, and I learned a lot more about magic. And I don't remember who I was giving shows for at that time. Oh, I remember when I was at the soda fountain. We used to have a Christmas party
Mm-hmm.
every Christmas, and they asked me, it became known that I was a magician, so they said, "Can you do a magic act for the party?"
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Sure." So that was my first public performance,
That's really neat.
and I asked one of the cute waitresses to be my assistant.
You didn't saw her in half, did you?
No. But I remember this one trick where she's holding this hat, and I'm putting stuff in the hat, and I make it disappear.
Mm-hmm.
But while she's holding this hat, she starts laughing, and she tips the hat down, and you can see there was nothing in it.
Oh no! She ruined your act.
Yeah. But she was pretty good looking, so I forgave her.
Oh, that's funny.
And a lot of the girls I met were associated with a soda fountain, and I took a few of them out on dates, but I was only hampered by the fact that I didn't have a car. So they didn't care much for the fact that I had to take the streetcar with them. You know.
Oh.
But there was one girl I remember in particular who she didn't work at the soda fountain, but I used to walk home from school with her. She and I both went to the same Catholic grammar school.
Uh-huh.
Her name was Pat.
Mm-hmm.
Pat Kelleher. And when we lived on Sawyer Avenue, she lived on Sawyer Avenue also.
Okay.
So I used to walk home from school with her.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was delivering the papers, she would walk along with me.
Aw, that's cute.
And so they had a picnic for the paper carriers. And I invited her to come along.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to this picnic.
She deserved it, huh?
Yeah.
She earned it.
Yep.
Hey, Dad, how did you first become interested in magic, do you think? Do you remember what that...
Yes, I do. One of my friends had a Misto Magic set.
Oh. Is that the one you wanted?
Yeah.
Oh, ouch.
And we used to walk home from school together. And he invited me to come and see his magic tricks. So he showed me those, and I thought that was really great.
That's neat.
And that's how I really first
Okay.
got interested.
Yeah.
His name is Norman Jacobs, and he later went to IIT as I did, and we were fraternity brothers there.
That's great.
Norm Jacobs.
That's neat. Did you beat him out, too, in
Uh,
IIT?
Oh yeah, I was first.
So of course you did. Okay, Dad, getting back to your childhood a little bit, what were some of your fondest memories in your early childhood, if you can remember anything?
Well, we always had good food, so that was one of my favorite memories.
Mm-hmm.
I used to enjoy playing with blocks and Tinker Toys. And my brother Paul would often come in and knock everything down.
Ooh.
So that was part of growing up. He and I had to sleep in the same double bed for many years
Wow.
because we had 3 bedrooms in that apartment on Sawyer Avenue. And my sister Mary Ann had her own room,
Mm-hmm.
a small room.
Okay.
My parents had a room, and then Paul and I shared a double bed in the 3rd room.
Okay.
And the thing I remember most about sleeping there was that there was a Chinese laundry across the street. And they used to play this Chinese music at night. And it was really kind of irritating.
Oh.
But we had to have the windows open because we didn't have air conditioning.
Right. So is this when you were trying to go to sleep?
Yeah, I got used to it after a while, and I never really lost much sleep.
But you lost interest in that kind of music, I expect.
I never had interest in that kind of music.
What were some of your fondest memories of your adolescent years, if you had any?
Working at the soda fountain was really my social life.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun. Had a lot of good friends there. So that was it. Then of course, that's my adolescent years, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh. I'm going to go into your college then.
Yeah. I think that's what I remember the most, just being at the soda fountain and having my center of my social life was right there.
Yeah.
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 And we were busy. I worked hard there.
Yeah.
But I never resented it. I enjoyed it.
That's great.
I remember one time, I used it was a place that had about 25 tables.
Mm-hmm.
And they had one of the large movie theaters right next